Hello boys and girls. Today I will be discussing Unit 6, Lesson 9. We will be reviewing how to add and subtract fractions with like denominators. Also be reviewing how to multiply a whole number with a fraction. And then we'll be working on how to solve word problems that incorporate fractions. I first want to review with you today how to add and subtract fractions with like denominators. So remember, boys and girls, when you're adding and subtracting fractions with common denominators, you want to follow these three simple rules. The first rule is you want to add and subtract the numerator. Then you want to keep the denominator the same and simplify if needed. So I'm going to show you, boys and girls, right now how to add a fraction. So I have a mixed number here. I have 1 4/5 plus 1 3/5. I'm going to separate my fractions and my whole numbers. So my fractions are on the right side and my whole numbers are on the left side. Remember, boys and girls, a mixed number is when you have a whole number with a fraction. I'm going to first start with adding my fraction. So remember, step number 1 says just to add the numerators. So I'm going to add my numerators, which is 4 and 3. 4 plus 3 is 7, and then keep the denominator the same. So my denominator is 5. Now I'm going to add my whole numbers, which 1 plus 1 equals 2. So boys and girls, my problem of 1 4/5 plus 1 3/5 equals 2 7/5. Now I want to show you how to subtract a fraction with a like denominator. Just like how we added, you follow the same exact rules by subtracting the numerator, then keeping the denominator the same, and then simplifying if needed. So here's my subtraction problem. I have 7 1/6 minus 3 2/6. And again, I'm going to separate my fractions and my whole numbers. Again, step number 1, it says to subtract the numerators. So my numerator is 1 and 2. I realize I can't subtract 2 from 1. So I'm actually going to use a picture to help me solve this problem. And I notice here that I have 7 holes. So I'm going to draw 7 holes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I have 1 unit. So I'm going to draw my 1, which that equals 1, 6. So boys and girls, since I don't have enough, I'm going to go next door and I'm going to cross out my 7 and I'm going to change that into a 6. So I'm going to count here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need to take that 7th one and break it up into 1 6. So I'm going to break it up and I have and each of those represent 1 6. So I have 1 6, which is hard to see. And now, boys and girls, I'm going to add up how many units I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7. So now I'm going to write my 7 up here. I have 7 units of 1 6. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. Now I'm able to subtract. So 7 minus 2 equals 5. Again, my denominator stays the same, which is 6. And now I'm going to subtract my whole number. 6 minus 3 equals 3. So my answer is 3 5/6. My next problem I would like to review with you guys is multiplying a fraction by a whole number. Remember that multiplying a fraction is like repeated addition. So I could actually write 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8 7 times. And then I could add all of the numerators together. But boys and girls, there's a simpler way that we can do this. And we can actually multiply the numerators together. We can actually multiply the whole number, which is the 7, with the 5. So I'm actually going to multiply 7 times 5. And 7 times 5 equals 35. And then again, my denominator stays the same. So now, boys and girls, I would like to change this into a mixed number. So I need to ask myself, how many times can 8 go into 35 evenly without going over? So I'm actually going to divide 35 divided by 8. I know that 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32, and then 8 times 5 is 40. But 8 times 5 I went over, so I have to go with 8 times 4. So I'm going to put my 4 up here. And now I'm going to multiply 8 times 4, which equals 32. And I'm going to subtract, which I get 3. And boys and girls, when working with fractions, we do not put a remainder 3. So we write this as 4 being our whole number. Then whatever's left over, 3, is our numerator. And then our denominator stays the same. So my answer would be 4 3/8. My last type of problem I would like to talk about is how to solve word problems using fractions. So here's my word problem. Miss Washington is taking an accounting class. Each class is 3/4 hour long. If there are 22 classes in all, how many hours will Miss Washington spend in class? So I first want to underline the information that I have in my word problem. So I'm going to underline 3/4 because that's how long each of the classes are, is 3/4 hour long. Then she takes 22 classes. So I have to find out how many hours will Miss Washington spend in class. So I know that this is a multiplication word problem. So I'm going to write my equation out as 22 times 3/4. So remember, boys and girls, when we're multiplying, it's like repeated addition. Or you can multiply the whole number with the numerator. So I'm going to multiply 22 times 3, which 22 times 3 is 66. And my denominator stays the same. So now, boys and girls, I have to see how many times 4 can go into 66 evenly without going over. So the way I find that out is I divide 66 divided by 4. So I'm going to start off with my problem and dividing 4 into 6, which can go into it one time without going over. So 4 times 1 is 4. I'm going to subtract, which equals 2, and I'm going to bring down my 6. 4 can go into 26 6 times. And 6 times 4 is 24. So I'm going to subtract, and I have 2 left over. So 16 will be my whole number. The remainder is my numerator of 2. And then my denominator stays the same, which was 4. So boys and girls, Miss Washington spends 16 hours and 2/4 hours in class. So that would be my answer. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you tomorrow in class.